This is F.D. Recovery, where we interview addicts and alcoholics.
Our aim is that through this podcast, we might help you on your journey of recovery.
Thank you for listening.
Hello, this is Frank with F.D. Recovery, and you are listening to the Weekly Intention. We go week to week, and we take a spiritual principle, a topic, and we talk about it. Usually I have somebody else with me, usually my wife, but she got caught up at work and couldn't, so she'll be here in spirit, right? So last week was creativity, and this week will be leadership. We'll dig into leadership, but we'll do a recap of creation. So basically, what I have to expand on creation that I didn't expand on it last week, basically the way it worked for me, right? I stayed very coherent with my interactions, just very connected to it. I was watching how I was creating. I was also getting very creative with my Facebook and just creating new videos, creating content with, things recovery. I want to get the message out with this whole recovery thing, because I think that if we can make it a cool thing, more people will be attracted to it, right? And so that was part of the way my creativity worked out this week, right? And I also stayed very connected with my feelings, my emotions, especially in moment, creating the moment with another person, because there's a certain synergy that's kind of happening with every interaction, every single day. We're creating experience, right? We're creating an experience with other people. And I paid really close attention to that, because I believe that I needed to foster that, and I needed to cherish that with people. And so far this week, I did a pretty good job. And this week I'm going to be working on leadership. But the whole basic concept for me with creation is a very simple one, right? We're creating everything constantly. We have a filter. We have all our beliefs, our stigmas, dogmas. We have beliefs that were passed down to us. It could be religious. It could even be simple as self-worth, way they treated us. That's why we treat others. There's a whole thing to it, right? So I just tried to, with this whole creation thing, is keep an open mind with it and understand that I'm unlearning a lot of stuff, and I'm relearning a lot of things that I never thought I would, right? I never thought I would be this loving, caring person, that I would strive to do good every single day, because that just wasn't part of my makeup. Don't get me wrong, I had a good heart and there was a lot of potential in that, but for the most part, I just lived a really rough life and got high and never knew how to feel my own emotions, right? But today I can create from a place of, a place from spirit, right? Connected to God. And that was another creation that I believe is really important, is your creator itself, right? Your higher power. I have to create a good experience with that connection with the world around me. I like to believe that as, or I like to see that as, right? So I'll keep it pretty short on the creation part, right? It's going to be a pretty short podcast. I had a long day, but I'm sure we all have our battles, right? So you guys can vibe with that. So I'll be wrapping up with the creativity. Just guys, if you're out there and you're having struggle creating the life you want to create, just lean on God, right? He'll show you. He'll show you things that you could never discover on your own, right? Because it's gonna allow the attractors to turn on, and you can create the reality you really want by connecting to something higher than yourself. Whether it's helping other people, it can be a mixture of it all, right? Doing service, helping other people, step work. Just keep chipping away at it, because I promise you that something will give way. You have to have the right attitude, though. That's the most important. You create the right attitude and you create the life. It's often not the problem that's happening. It's our attitude and relationship with the things around us and the problem itself that kind of dictates the outcome, right? So, without spending too much time on that whole shindig, let's see what Google has to say about leadership. All right. So, leadership is a process of influencing and guiding a group towards a common goal through skills like communication, motivation, and decision making. It involves creating a clear vision, establishing achievable goals, and providing the necessary tools for a team to succeed. While often associated with formal positions, leadership is a developable skill present in individuals at all levels. Effective leadership requires building trust, fostering a positive culture, and developing team members' abilities. Visions and goals. Leadership articulate a clear vision, establish achievable goals, and inspire and share a sense of purpose. So let's see what it has to say. Let's see what else it has to say. Let's dig a little deeper in recovery. Let's see what it has to say pertains to recovery. Leadership in recovery involves a person-centered, collaborative approach that fosters hope, empowerment, and community, while also developing skills like accountability, empathy, and adaptability. It benefits the leader by building self-worth and purpose, and it benefits the community by providing guidance and support for others on their own recovery journeys. Key aspects include being a role model, taking responsibility for actions, building a supportive network, and communicating effectively with others. Characteristics of a leader in recovery: integrity, acting as a role model for others by being honest and consistent. Confidence, gaining confidence by taking on responsibility and setting goals. Empathy, listening to others without judgment and relating to their experiences. Adaptability, being willing to change and pivot when necessary. Accountability, taking responsibility for one's own action and decisions, which can foster personal responsibility in all areas of life. And lastly, influence, inspiring change and helping to move others towards their goal. Wow. Okay, I can vibe with all that. That gives us enough to chew on, right? So, leadership's a super important thing, right? No matter how you look at it, there's always going to be things that you're involved in that people are going to look to you for answers. I do know when you have a very strong personality and you do fit a leadership type role, people lean on you very heavily. Being in management myself and being a natural leader, as far as when I get into social situations, it's important to, and a leader doesn't mean you're in charge. That's not what a leader means. That's not the way I envision a leader. A leader means that you participate on a level that people know that you're involved, right? Yes, you are dependable in a lot of decision-making situations, but you're also willing to work elbow to elbow and help the people out that are in the trenches. And in recovery stance, right, it's super important, right? I'll put it this way: people at my job, at an employment type of situation, they know that there's not a job that I'll give them that I'm not willing to do myself and that I haven't done 1,000 times over. It's so when you, especially in recovery, you got to live the life that you're preaching. You got to do the things that you give as advice to other people. I can't tell you some advice, right? That's why it talks about integrity, right? Integrity was the first one for a reason. I can't tell you how to live your life if I'm not living it even close to that way myself, right? So, the way it breaks down in my brain, right, is if I'm not willing to put in the work that I'm trying to put you through, whether it be a sponsor and or an employee and or a spouse, right? If I'm not willing to just put in the effort to that point too, then what are we really doing here? And don't get me wrong, we all have different roles, we all have different goals. It's all relative to what your experience is. Don't get me wrong, right? I don't expect me to be the same caretaker that my wife is, because she takes a more caretaker role for my daughter. My daughter is really attached to her. We're in a unique position where I'm very blessed to have the job I have, and they pay me really good money, and they allow me to work overtime, and it helps us stay afloat, especially in this economy, right? So we all have a role to play, and that will change. It's not like a role you need to be in this role because you're a guy or a girl. No, it's just where we're at in our life right now. Is what we're experiencing between my wife. That we're experiencing this life together, and the big thing is to know your place in life, right? Sometimes, you're not always going to be the leader. Sometimes you have to be able to be led as well, right? And that's what the whole sponsorship thing is about. It's not a tug of war for power, right? A real leader helps build other leaders. It's not a competition, right? We're trying to build other people up because we know that they're going to have families they go back to. Just because I'm a leader in one arena doesn't mean that they're not going to be a leader in their home arena or their friend group, whatever it is, right? It's important to understand that we're trying to build leaders for the future, leaders for our community, leaders for their family, right? You teach somebody how to be a leader by also leading with integrity. You teach just by being a good example as far as living the life, doing what you set out to do, completing your goals, and sharing the wisdom and knowledge that was basically passed down to you. Somebody did it for you, right? Everything's kind of regurgitated anyways. There's no such thing as an original thought, right? Everything that it's all been in a book before. As soon as I'm sure if you think you came up with this amazing idea, I'm sure somebody's patented it and already made it theirs. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there's a lot of great people out there doing new stuff all the time, but we're talking on a basic level, like us, like alcoholics, addicts, right? There's nothing new under the sun, right? So. Basically the way I try to break that down for my brain to make sense of it is I'm here every single day. I'm learning. I'm open to new ideas. A real leader. What makes me a good leader today is being able to listen to my peers, listen to their concerns, try to help them where I can, and also admit when I'm wrong. Also admit when I need help. It's most important, right? And you got to be able to lean on your support group, right? Leadership is important. Man, you got a bad leader, then things can go pretty crazy, right? Leadership is if not the most important thing out there as far as how you're going to lead your family, how you're going to lead your community, right? Are you going to lead them astray? All right. And are you a leader? How can you be a leader? Do you got what it takes to be a leader? I'm not trying, it's not an ego thing. It's just these are real questions you have to ask yourself. If you're not a leader, that's completely fine, right? But we're trying to build people up to be leaders and get them to a place where they're self-sufficient and they can change and turn their life around for the better of their family and their community, right? So it's, addiction and leadership are connected through both metaphorical and literal lenses. Where addiction can be seen as harmful leadership style, addictive leadership. Oh, that's a whole different thing. I don't know what the heck. There's a thing called addictive leadership. Definition: the metaphor frames a leadership style where a leader is addicted to certain behaviors like saying yes to too many tasks, avoiding difficult conversations, and getting caught in low value work, which leads to burn. Oh, okay. Wow, there's different types of leadership. All right, and that one is the addictive leadership. Wow, that's I didn't even think about different types of leadership. Let's see what it has to say. Oh, there's a whole bunch of, oh, wow, you can get really deep into this. Holy smokes. There's autocratic, one person making all the decisions, democratic. Group input, leader makes final call, right? Hands-off delegation, transformational, inspiring and motivation, transactional, using rewards and punishments. That's the one I was so used to, right? Servant, focusing on serving the team. Situational, adapting style to the context. Okay, so each style has very different strengths and weaknesses, making them more or less effective depending on the situation, teams, and goals. So it seems like you can kind of crossbreed all these and use them interchangeably, right? There's a whole lot to leadership. It's just not one size fits all. And I know in my own personal life and my own recovery is I have to get inputs with others, and I have to get connected with people, right? Because sometimes if I get too lost in the ego, I just want to make all the calls and I want no one to help me, and I kind of want to just spin my wheels, and that's not exactly the healthiest approach, right? Because it's much easier if you have somebody lifting with you, right? It's all good and great to do it all alone, but in the end, you're going to get burnt out. It talks about taking on low value work. If you don't have an outside perspective, you don't have people around you, you don't have that tribe, what happens is you get pretty narrow minded and you start taking on, your boat starts taking on water, and eventually you got no one to help you paddle out that water, right? So if you take on water, no one help you fix the leaks, right? You're just doing everything by yourself, and you're like the captain of your own ship, and it's slowly but surely there's just too much to get. A one-man crew is not going to get it, right? And that's what this whole experience of life is, especially with recovery is one of the biggest it's a village type deal, right? You're not just going to get recovery and think that you're going to power through it and you're going to use self-will and blah, blah, blah. It's a team effort. So, I ain't got much more to say on leadership. I just know how I'm going to use leadership. I'm going to watch the kind of styles I use. I'm going to try to be more balanced with my approach, especially at work. I'm going to do my best to kind of, just try to be a better leader, right? And be the person that my family deserves, be the man, the husband, the worker that, I know my life deserves today, right? And if you're out there and you're dealing, some of these concepts are, maybe you're in the early recovery stages and you need to be a follower right now. You need to be built up to be a leader. And the good thing about good leaders is they know exactly when they need to do some following and be the teacher and student at the same time, right? I think with the whole leadership, we get lost. I know I do. I get lost in the whole ego thing, and leader needs to know all the answers. That's not true. A leader just guides its team to the best outcome, right? And in order to do that, you have to take input from all areas, because it's not just one person running the show. You got multiple facets. You got a night crew, morning shift, you got a mid shift. It's all the pieces to the moving puzzle, right, in your life. And with different crews is different systems, right? There's a medical, there's a pre-tester, there's a receptionist, there's all those things, right? There's whole subsections to every step that you have to do at the doctor's office, and then at warehouses, there's a boxer, there's somebody doing boxes, there's somebody doing forklifts. So it's all like you have to create a good system, and in order to do that, you must communicate. Communication, above all, along with integrity, for leadership is very vital, right? And I'm gonna get off of here. I'm pretty tired today. Sorry if it was a short little shindig, but I've been having a long week, a long day, little sleep, but all in all, I'm pretty blessed. So I just wanted to jump on here, do the weekly intention, and I'm going to be working real hard to get my team back together and do some more interviews. I love you guys, and this week is leadership. Approach this week on how you can be a better leader for your community, for your family, for your loved ones, all of it. All right. I love you guys. This is F.D. Recovery, and we have peace.
Thank you for tuning in to F.D. Recovery. A reminder, be kind to yourself on this journey of recovery. Also, call your sponsor, get connected to local support groups, and for one day at a time, stay clean and sober.